What's going on, guys? How you doing? Gypsy Danger 7 is back with the first video of the day, so let's get right into it. And I want to talk about what should be concerning to all of you Americans out there, my fellow Americans, and that is how much control that the Chinese Communist Party has over hella weird, Blizzard Entertainment, the gaming industry, like Blizzard Entertainment, and of course the NBA. So let's get right into it. First of all, let's talk about the NBA. Oh, because I got plenty to say about LaBitch James, but let's get back in track here. As you know, it's preseason. As you know, they got protesters in support of Hong Kong, in support of the Hong Kong protesters, and they're out there in the audience, and they're getting thrown out of the stadiums. And why? Because the NBA does not want to offend their Chinese paymasters. And then now let's get to LaBitch James. This sucker lives out in the ivory tower. He's going to tell the rest of us Americans, that we should not voice our support for the Hong Kong protesters. Why? Because that offends his Chinese paymasters. That's why. And then you got that fake-ass Christian, Steph Curry, going to sit there and say, I don't know nothing about China or Chinese history. Well, let me give you something about Chinese history, you dumbass. Okay, Zhao Madong, okay? You know who he is? He's the brutal dictator that turned China into a communist country, and he murdered 60 million people because he had to make sure that China stayed communist. Do some history, Steffi. Learn about the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre, Stephanie. You don't know nothing about China. Yeah, your ignorance shows. And then LeBron James living in his ivory tower going to tell us what we should and should not do. Doesn't that sound familiar, people? Oh, that's right. Communism. China's going to pay LaBitch James to tell us what to do. Like we honestly listen to LaBitch James. Don't these sports idiots realize something? When's the last time we listened to somebody, an overpriced, overhyped, overly pampered sports star, tell us what to do? Ask Colin Crapperstink about that. See where he's at. And speaking of the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre, I said it before, I'll say it again. You take a Chinese person right now, 22 years old, and bring him here to the United States. Ask them, what do they know about the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre? And I'll tell you what they're going to sit there and tell you. What's that? Because why? Because the Communist Party over there in China wiped that clean off their history books. It's not even taught in their history books. That's a fact. And let's talk about the gaming industry. You know, I'm not a major league gamer, but I do game. I do play video games. I play mostly Destiny. That's my game. I'm waiting for Modern Warfare, Call of Duty. Oh, I love that one because SJWs, soy boys, oh, they're crying about that game. And when you know they're crying about that game, it's going to be a great game. Oh, I can't wait to play it. But let's talk about Blizzard Entertainment. Everybody knows what happened by now. One of the major league gamers won the tournament, and then he voiced his support for the Hong Kong protesters, and then he got silenced right away. They just, cut him out. Suspended his account for a whole year, took his $10,000 prize winnings, and everything else like that, but they rescinded. Okay, instead of a whole year suspension, he's been suspended for 6 months, and he got his money back. But notice how quick Blizzard Entertainment was to sit there and silence him and show some smooching up, show some kissing ass, apology to their Chinese paymasters. Sorry, China. So sorry. So sorry. So sorry. Why don't you apologize to your fellow Americans, you jackasses? Why don't you apologize to your fellow American that won a tournament, you jackasses? You're going to offer apology to a Chinese Communist Party. And let's talk about hella weird. Now, I forgot the title of the moon about the moon landing. I think it's called The Moon, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me in the description box below. But the bottom line is this: the movie The Moon basically talked about the moon landing and all of that mess leading up to the moon landing. And the uproar that movie caused was the fact that they did not show the American flag on the moon. Come to find out, there's a reason for it. The Chinese Communist Party funded that movie. So, of course, they don't want to see American exceptionalism. And that's why that scene, that iconic scene of the American flag being stuck on the moon was never shown. Because the Chinese Communist Party made sure of that. The Chinese Communist Party made sure to cancel out American exceptionalism. And let's talk about Top Gun 2. Yes, I was legitimately hyped to see this movie. I couldn't wait to see this movie. You can cancel that now. And here's why. You know that iconic jacket? Well, in part one, that iconic jacket had two flags on it. The Taiwanese flag and the Japanese flag. Two of our strongest Asian allies out there. But guess who decided to sit there and say, can't have that on there? You guessed it, the Chinese Communist Party. That's who. And so guess what? No, those two flags of Taiwan and Japan are not in the back of that jacket. So, first, with the moon landing movie, take away American exceptionalism. And now with Top Gun 2, take away our Asian allies. And yet, what do we have here at home? We got leftist lunatics in the House trying to impeach President Trump relentlessly because of why? Foreign interference. Remember Russian collusion? And now Ukrainian mania. When in fact, every time Ukrainian mania stays in the news, the more exposed Joe Biden gets, the more exposed Nancy Pelosi gets, and the Rhino Supreme himself, Mitt Romney, gets. And they're trying to impeach President Trump for what they're doing. Explain that. But notice how they don't want to sit there and talk about Chinese interference in American politics, in American sports, in American entertainment. They don't want to talk about that. That's true interference. But they don't want to talk about that. They want to accuse President Trump of doing something he has never done, but yet they have. But they're trying to impeach him for it. Somebody, again, please explain that. That's why this should be concerning. Okay, and you look at big tech. Listen, Google is also answering the Chinese paymasters. Why do you think big tech is going hard on conservatives? Why do you think big tech is going hard on censorship of conservatives that have dissenting opinions? They're going hard on our First Amendment rights. They're going hard to make sure we don't have First Amendment rights. Why? Because they have to answer to the Chinese paymasters. That's why. That's communism, folks. And for all you idiots out there that want socialism, let me explain something to you. Socialism leads to communism. Socialism is communism. They are evil twin brothers. You get one, you get the other. One right after the other. And you want to bring that here to the United States. And before I go, because I don't want to drag this video out, look at the policies that these Democratic circus clowns want to give us. Abortions on demand. Well, that sounds familiar. Go to China. Forced abortions. Censorship. Oh, yeah. Beta bitch again. Talking about taking away our AR-15s. If we don't adhere to the law, he's going to make sure the law comes knocking on our doors to take our AR-15s forcibly. Sound familiar? Does any of that sound familiar? Come on, say it with me. Say it with me. You guessed it. Communistic much? Only communists deal in absolutes. Shout out to the people who get that reference. Anyway, that is the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Share. If you did, please share, like, rate, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell. Greatly appreciated. By the way, before I go, starting from here on out, in my description box, I will have hashtag 1989 Tiananmen Square Massacre. I will have hashtag I support Hong Kong protesters. Maybe not that long, but you get my point. There will be hashtags. No matter what the subject will be, until this is resolved in Hong Kong, I will always put down, I support Hong Kong. I support the protesters. 1989 Tiananmen Square massacres. And oh, by the way, let's see how long I stay on YouTube before they decide to deplatform me because I go against their TOS for my support of Hong Kong and the protesters. Until the next video, if there's going to be a next video, God bless you. Jesus loves you. Holy Ghost guide you. Later.